Bobby, will you lead us in prayer, please?
Sure will, Judge. Thank you. Would you bow your heads with me? Dear Lord, as we come before you, we're thankful for this day and thankful for the many blessings that you've bestowed upon us. We take so granted the things that you do for us, dear God, and we want to recognize you for that. We ask you, Lord, today that you look down on Hillman Dodson, our friend and colleague that had the accident yesterday, that you'd be with him and your healing hand would be upon him and his wife, his family, that you would take care of them. We ask you, Lord, to bless this meeting. May we do things and look to you for guidance to make decisions and stuff that would better serve the people of Pike County. We ask all this in the name of Jesus Christ and for your sake, and amen.
Amen. Wait a minute. Meeting come to order. Roll call, please.
Judge Deskins.
Here.
Magistrate Anderson.
Here.
Magistrate Compton.
Here.
Magistrate Murphy.
Here.
Magistrate Robinson.
Here.
Magistrate Barney.
Here.
All right. The pledge, Leo, would you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, special presentation. Mr. Johnson, would you come to the podium?
Judge Deskins, I guess I should use that in the plural. Judges Deskins, members of the Fiscal Court. My name is Everett Johnson, and I'm curator of the museum, which is next door. And I'd like to invite many of you to come over there. We have wonderful exhibits over there. I'm sure that you have many people who approach this microphone and wish to criticize you and complain, perhaps ask for something or for some project they would like. I'm here today to compliment you, congratulate you, and give you something. I'm delighted to show our family's appreciation to the senior citizens of a center that all are scattered among the county. And I would like to show our family's appreciation for that. They went to the Virgie Senior Citizens when it was there. Now it is the Shelby Valley Senior Citizens Center. If I may, Judge, I'd like to take just a couple of minutes to tell who the people are who are donating this. My brother Lee Garrett Johnson and his wife Jacqueline Kraft Johnson were 91 and 90 years old, and they recently passed. And they left me as executor of their estates. And just a few minutes, I'll tell you about my brother Lee. He graduated from high school in 1943. Within 2 or 3 months, he was in the Navy. After his training, he was assigned to a destroyer escort, the USS England. And the England was sent to the South Pacific to patrol in that area. And while they were there, they sank 6 Jap submarines, for which they received the Presidential Union Citation. Now, Lee told me that there were 7. That sub hasn't come in yet, so that's pretty definitely it's a kill too. And Lee is and was my hero. But after this success, they had to go to the Battle of Okinawa, which is near the end of the war. And that's where their luck ran out. They were patrolling on the north edge of that and were spotted and attacked by 2 kamikazes. And Lee was telling me he was on a 20-millimeter gun, anti-aircraft gun, and he kept shooting and shooting and shooting. He got one of them, but one of them struck the ship amidside, and broke it in two. 27 of the sailors were killed. My brother was very seriously wounded. The ship was on fire, so the only thing they could do was to help him and throw him overseas. A few hours later, he was picked up by a tender and taken to the Great Lakes Naval Hospital. And as they examined him, they found that he had 2 bullet wounds and 99 shrapnel wounds. He spent over a year in a body cast. And when he came home, he had a chest full of medals and a leg that was 2 inches shorter than the other, so he limped the rest of his life, and one eye that was shot out. So as I say, he's my hero. He was very lucky to have found his wife, Jacqueline Kraft Johnson, who native of Letcher County, who came from a very prominent family. She also was a teacher. When Lee came back from the war, he was 100% disabled, and he could have rested on his laurels and accepted that check, but he did not. With the help of the GI Bill and our parents, he went on to college, got his degree, got 2 master's degrees. About age 30, he became a school principal, and then later a superintendent, one of the youngest superintendents in Kentucky. Judge, I'm here to tell you how our family appreciates the Senior Citizens Program. We were very proud that 3 of our members were given transportation to the center. They were taken places, they were given healthy meals, and they were able to go from place to place and meet the people. And so as something to show our appreciation, it was my mother, Elizabeth Johnson, my sister, Vidi Johnson, my sister, Violet Kibiger. So in honor of those 3 people, I would like to present to the senior citizens a check for $5,000.
Mr. Johnson, I want to salute you and your family. First time I even heard of Lee Johnson, but he's my hero too now.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Yes, I'm a Vietnam veteran, and he's my hero too.
Okay. I was a Cold War warrior while you were there. I was over in Germany. I always considered myself as a Cold War warrior. And I also consider that in World War III. We also can.
Thank you, Everett.
Get it crashed into it. He killed it. But he said time every one of them got a kick at him. He said every one of them on the ship, but he killed several. Good to see. 27 men. I think he's over here just fine. I'll go see him.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, buddy. Thank you, Everett.
Oh, Robert Newsom, boys, I ain't seen him in forever.
What's his name? He was Johnson.
Everett Johnson. Everett Johnson.
On behalf of the Senior Citizens Program, I would like to thank Mr. Johnson and his family. I think he already stepped out. But when Jeannie called me last week and said that Mr. Johnson was coming and he had a donation, we had no idea how much it was going to be. $10 we would have appreciated. 200 we would have appreciated. But $5,000? Well, I had told Leah, I said, Leah, if it's $200, we'll buy you a commercial food processor. So now I guess Leah will get a lot of commercial little appliances that's needed at her center. But it's so nice to have people like the Johnsons that appreciate what goes on at the senior citizen centers and appreciates the home-delivered meals, the transportation. But we thank them, and we thank you all.
Thank you.
The books on there, it's a house.
For approval, discussion. Discussion of the 2018-2019 proposed budget.
She's making some copies, Judge. She'll be right here.
Okay, no, all right.
Yeah, Frankie.
Yeah. Awarding of bids, Frankie?
Judge, I've got 3 bids, and I'll kind of do them all together for one vote. The first bid was bid number 1 for 2018. It was that concrete bridge at Big Blue Springs Road, the Blackberry Bridge over in District 5. We tabled that bid back on February 1st, and the 90-day time limit has expired, so I need authorization to reject that bid because we can't accept it now. If we decide to go on with that project, we'll have to rebid it out. The second bid is CAECO number 1. We did the road salt reverse auction. We got 4 bids. The first bid was from Cargill De-icing, $100 a ton. Second bid was from Detroit Salt Company, $101 a ton. Third bid was Compass Minerals America, $111 a ton. And the fourth bid was from Morton Salt, $115 a ton. And we had a 30-day time limit from the time that we got those bids in. So I put salt out to bid, and on the next page, bid number 16 for this year, sodium chloride road salt. I bid it delivered and picked up. We received 2 bids. The first bid is from Cargill Incorporated. Delivered price is $97.55 a ton. Pickup price is $95 a ton. And the second bid is from Compass Minerals. Delivered price is $110 a ton, and pickup price is $108.50 a ton. And last year's price was $93.19 a ton. I thought all the reverse auction prices were really high. That's why we put it back out for a sealed bid. My recommendation would be to award the bid to Cargill Incorporated with the lowest evaluated bid price of $97.55 a ton for delivered, and $95 a ton for a pickup price, and to reject all the reverse auction salt bids.
All right. Have we done business with them before?
Yes, Cargill, yes.
Yeah, okay, so we had no complaints or nothing then, right?
We've done business with all 4 companies.
Okay.
Before, so.
All right.
Is this about the bridge?
The first one was to just reject that bid because we had it tabled and we can't accept it now because 90 days has passed. The second one would be to reject the reverse auction salt bids, and the third one would be to accept Cargill for the salt price of $97.55 a ton delivered and $95 pickup price.
I believe we need a motion to reject it.
Well, I'll make a motion that we reject your first 2, and then we're going to accept the third one, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Roll call, please.
Magistrate Anderson? Yes. Magistrate Compton?
Yes.
Magistrate Murphy?
Yes.
Magistrate Robinson? Magistrate Barney?
Yes.
Judge Disco?
Yes.
That's all I had, Judge.
Okay, thank you. Okay, proposed budget, is John on the way here?
Yeah, she's making some copies, Judge.
Okay. Matrix comments, Jeff? None? Jeff, you have no comments? All right. Charles?
No, I don't have any, Judge.
Leo?
Not this time, Judge, no.
You know, Bobby?
I'll comment on behalf of him, and I will give an update on Mr. Dodson. He had an accident yesterday at the Hatfield-McCoy Park over at Buskirk. He was riding a lawnmower cutting some grass, and something happened, wheel spin down on him or something, and he ran over the riverbank with that lawnmower. He ended up with a cracked rib on each side and then 3 cracked vertebrae in his back. Ooh. And he's home. He didn't sleep very much last night. They gave him pain medication, and he said as soon as it'd wear off, he'd wake up in pain and stuff. So, but talked to him just before we came in for the meeting, and he said to tell everybody he was sorry, that he was with us in spirit, if not in body. But I told his wife to give him a kiss and tell him that was for me, and then slap him one for doing something like that. But that's Hillman was being Hillman. You know, the other thing I'd like to comment on is our senior citizens. You know, I can't say enough about that group. They had senior citizen Olympics yesterday at Jenny Wiley, and our group come into it, and they've done pretty well on that. Our next morning meeting, I'd like for us to have all the ones that won medals to come in, and we'll recognize them. And they had a real good time, and they do a terrific job. I love them women. We got one over it's 90. Let's see, how old is Elsie now? She's 98, isn't she? 98 years old, and I think she won 4 or 5 medals yesterday. You know, but it's just amazing what they do, and I think world of them. And Susie Stanley, our director over there, does a great job over there with those. You know, we finally got the fans hooked up for their little porch out back, so they come out, they're rocking chairs and got a fan to keep the air stirred a little bit, and I just enjoy the heck out of them doing that, you know. But we've had some problems with our mower, Judge. We put it in the shop in February to try to get it ready for the mowing season, and it's still in the shop. And I borrowed 2 other mowers last Friday, from 2 of the other magistrates, and they've been working Friday, and they worked all this week and stuff. And I'm about to get caught up on the weed cutting on the roads and stuff. A lot of the people were very angry that it got like that was. A lot of them that called me, they understood when I explained it to them, but we're getting to it. We're getting it as quick as we can. But that's all I've got to say, Judge. Thank you.
All right. Treasurer's business. John is not here, so we'll go into executive session. Bobby, will you please read the KRS?
Yes, sir, you ought. At this time, I'd like to make a motion. I make a motion that we go into executive session, and according to KRS 61.810, paragraph C, discuss proposed or pending litigation, and paragraph F, discuss specific personnel matters.
I need a second. Roll call, please.
Magistrate Anderson? Yes. Magistrate Compton?
Yes.
Magistrate Murphy? Yes. Magistrate Robinson? Magistrate Varney?
Yes.
Judge Diskins?
Yes. All right, we'll be busy 10 or 15 minutes. The meeting will resume.
All right, Judge, at this time, I'd like to introduce the gentleman that's going to be speaking to us. And well, we've got 2 over there, Jimmy Bevins, we know him, and John Michael Johnson. I think they've got some things to talk to us about. All right, Jim.
Thanks, Bobby. I'm going to turn the floor over to John Michael here. He's one of the local land agents that the Trails Authority has been working with. We've made a lot of progress when it comes to trails, whether it's our water trails or land trails. And on the land side, of course, you've got motorized and non-motorized. There's been a lot of things going on behind the scenes that you can't always make public. I asked John Michael to come to the court today and tell you a little bit about what we've been talking about and what we're hoping to do here in the coming months. So I'll turn the floor over to John Michael.
Good morning. Thank you all for taking time to listen to us. I work for a family that has several large boundaries of property in Pike County, and we have one over in the Woodman area, about 2,000 acres, and right now the property, it is permitted for mining, and that's kind of been put on hold for a short while. And there's also gas wells on the property. Well, there's over 10 miles of roads on this property. We have a lot of trouble with people trespassing, taking timber, and that's one of the reasons that we would be interested in allowing the trail riders to use this property. It's a great place. You know, the river over there is just absolutely beautiful, and we would like to see people enjoy this property and be on it and, you know, kind of keep their eyes on it for us. We also have other boundaries down at Freeburn and even some here close to Pikeville. And we would like these properties to be used. They're just sitting there, not doing anything. And the people of Pike County that love to ride need to be able to enjoy these properties.
Thank you, John Michael. I've got a couple of dates that I would like to get on the record. We've got the Hatfield-McCoy Marathon that's coming up June the 9th. That race right now has almost 700 people registered. They can continue to register up until race day. Typically that race will have all 50 states represented in the run. They have a variety of different distances, as short as a 5K, upwards to half marathons to the full marathon. You guys can go to the Tug Valley Roadrunners Club website for registration information. You can pre-register there. They have an expo over at Belfry High School on Friday where you can also register, and then I think you can register up to about 6 o'clock the morning of the race. Most of the time that race leaves from Food City there in South Williamson, and then it'll go up 319 toward Blackberry and ultimately into Mate 1. They circle Mate 1, come down River Road, and then come down 292 and end up in Williamson. So that's the full course. So that's going to be on Saturday. On Sunday, we're going to do a bicycling event. You guys probably saw in the Appalachian News Express, they had an event here in town a couple weeks ago, had over 150 riders in that. So we've been talking about doing things on the back end of the marathon to try to hold some of these folks that are coming into our area here a little bit longer. So this year we're going to be doing a bicycle ride. It'll leave at 1:30 from the Senior Citizen Center in the park there at Blackberry. The road race, which is an open road course, will come down 1056 to Mate 1. It'll turn left on Route 49 toward the country club. They will turn at Sprigg, and then they'll come back up 1056 and finish up there at the Senior Citizen Center there on 1056 at Blackberry. That'll be about a 28-mile circuit. They can, again, do distance-wise whatever they're comfortable with, so whatever their skill level of riding is. You may want to do a 3 to 5 mile circuit if you're a beginning rider, so that's an option. If you want to do a 10-mile circuit, you can go into Mate 1 and back, or if you want to do the full circuit. So that'll be the road course portion of this. That'll be from 2:30 to 3:30. At 3:30, we're going to start the mountain course, or the off-road course, that will go up Ball Fork Mountain. Greg Hatfield has his facility there on top of the mountain, and we've got several miles of mountain bike trails that they can ride up there. So we've got a 2-hour limit on the road race. We've got a 3-hour limit on the off-road race. And it's basically more like a rally. These are open courses. So you can enter the course at any point. You can leave the course at any point. you can join the ride at any point. So we'd like to encourage all of our cycling folks, come out, participate in that event, and have a good time. The last couple events I want to talk about is the following weekend is the Hatfield McCoy Festival that the town of Matewan will be hosting, Herbie. That's right across the river from our park at Buskirk in McCarr. And they have asked us to sponsor a kayak fishing tournament to try to focus on the river events that we've been talking about and the ramps that we're developing up and along the river. So on June the 16th, that's on a Saturday, at first light, that tournament will start, and then we'll have a weigh-in at, that'll end at 4:30 there back at Matewan. So that'll be our first fishing event on the river for the year. And then we're also going to be doing an ATV sponsored ride by the folks over at Hatfield McCoy Motorsports. And the tentative date on that is going to be July the 14th. That'll be on a Saturday. We'll meet there at Hatfield McCoy Motorsports. The ride will leave from there. We'll go out and ride some of the circuits that we have through 319 and 1056. And then the ride will return back there for some refreshments. So we've got a busy June, busy July coming up. If anyone has any questions, they can always reach out to me. We have the Facebook pages where they can follow this information at Friends of Pike County Cycling or Pike County Kentucky Trails, and follow along there for further information. So thank you very much, Judge.
All right, thank you. Next is John, the treasurer's business.
Okay, I passed out to you all proposed budget and wanted you all to look over the revenue and the expenditures. Go through it as you did before with the first proposed budget, and ask me any questions. This shows comparison for the last 5 years, so look over it and ask me any questions that you want. We can go through it line item by line item, or I can give you highlights of what Frankie and I did.
Okay, I've got one question on page 2 of 65, appropriations comparison.
Okay.
On the sheriff's audits down there, how come that went up so much?
That's what we have actually spent this year on doing all of their audits for 16. We've spent $103,333.63.
Yeah, go.
And we only had $43,254 budgeted.
Budgeted for it.
So that would be his.
Well, with that,
his settlement, his that the Pikeville Accounting does. Then the auditors come in, and that's for the unmined, the tax collections, the gas, and all of their different tax entities they collect from.
but in previous years, it was just 43,000. I mean, and did that take care of it, or did we have to supplement them some?
I'd have to go back and look on that, because I had been consistent with the 43,254, so I'm thinking maybe we had some 15s in this too. Maybe it was late getting paid.
Okay.
And also the clerk's audit is up. We had done 10,253 for the last 4 years, and she spent 35,701.67 this year.
Yeah.
I can pull the detail and tell you if those are all just 16s or if there's a 15 and 16s in there together when we come back.
Okay, and then the sheriff's supplement we went from 275 to 300.
Correct.
Okay.
He would have 25,000, he said, left over at the end of 2018, and that he needed 25 more because of the drug dog and the handler. So it went from 275 to 300,000.
Okay, and his undercover investigation, it went up 7,500 too, did it?
We used to have money in the DARE project, and he does not have a DARE project, and he's been using it for undercover investigations. So we just put it where it's really being coded to.
Okay, all right.
Donna, do you want us to pass the budget?
Not right now, I just want them to look over and see, and I can give them highlights, and then I need to go back up and finish doing the interfund transfers till we can have a first reading today.
Are you, go ahead.
What's the total budget, including pass-throughs and everything? How much?
The budget as of right now on the expense side is $36,380,177, and that is down by about $260,000 from last year. Last year's, with all the transfers and everything, it was $36,644,000. So this number's probably going to go up close to that budgeted amount again. And the revenue, I'm out of balance by about $276,000. The revenue I have shown is $36,104,774 to bring it in line.
Well, when you pay all the things that are sort of mandated, that we and the pass-throughs, how much money do we have to spend for services to Pike County and for employees?
If you take the employees out, if you take their benefits out, if you take the pass-throughs, the insurance, the workers' comp, the unemployment, there's probably only about
Social Security.
Yeah, all their benefits, Social Security, retirement, health, life, dental. There is probably only about $5 million for truly services or less in this budget.
Yeah. But that's been pretty common the last 2 or 3 years, hasn't it?
Correct.
Yeah.
Because the of 36 million, 8 million plus is what we have into our employees, because the salaries are like 77,600,000 and something, I think, and then you do the FICA and the retirement on top of that. We did get lucky that we did a phase in with the retirement over the next so many years, so at least we didn't have the big jump that we were afraid we were going to have. But there's truly, once you go through this and take out the audits, take out supplements, there's truly not much money for the county to operate on.
So that's the garbage.
Yes.
And the services that we give.
The animal shelter, the coroner's office, the maintenance and grounds, the construction and maintenance, the public works department, the road department, the jail, everything.
So really, it's about 1/6 of the budget is dedicated to services.
Correct.
That we give. Okay.
All right. Are you finished?
Anything else, Bobby? Or anybody else?
Well, I ain't found nothing. I'll find some more.
Okay. Okay, the magistrates and commissioners' salaries were given 13 pay periods for the current court, cutting it down to 3 and doing the 45 for the next 13 payrolls. Next year will be more savings because this number will come down. And we cut the rent, the telephone, the travel, the water expense, the electric, and all of those things. PBA's amounts are statutory required.
So there's no rent now for magistrates? I mean,
One, Leo,
Leo, okay.
$1,200 is what we've got in for him for the 6 months.
Okay.
And there's still some, we're trying to get Magistrate Compton's water, no, we're trying to get Magistrate Anderson's electric and stuff cut off down there at his. So we're having a little bit of
Mine's cut off, wasn't it?
lag on it. Yeah, it was Magistrate Anderson. The reason in the line item for my salary is due to my pending retirement to pay me out my vacation and personal leave accumulated. And there are other people in the court that we've heard talk that's going to retire, so we've already went ahead and planned for payouts for that.
So when we look through that salary list, if we see one that's not in line with the previous year, it's because that person is talking about retiring.
Correct.
I got you. I got you.
Sort of went ahead and tried to cover our bases.
All right, insurance and stuff, what kind of adjustment we have on that?
Health insurance or workers?
Health insurance first.
It was $634 per individual. I don't have the paper of where we had those calculations. Would you care to go up there and get that, Frankie? I put it back in there on my desk. Or you can print another one off? Okay. Bring some extras down. Please. 634.12 times. Off the top of my head, $634.12 per employee plus for 200 employees. I did 210. Times it by 12 months would be almost $1.6 million.
That's what we
have budgeted for health insurance.
1.6?
Correct.
What was it last year roughly? I mean, you don't have to give me the exact dollar. How much of increase did we have?
It wasn't much. I think it was 600 and something. As a matter of fact, I think it went down a little bit, didn't it?
Yeah.
Because the vision is now included in the rate and it's not a separate rate.
Yeah.
Yeah, it actually did go down, even though we actually took a 9.5% increase because of the way the plan had changed. You actually saw somewhat of a decrease from the prior year.
Yeah.
Justin, what about workers' comp?
Workers' comp come to $780-some thousand, which is a decrease of $199,000, I think, from last year. And liability insurance went down to $686,000. And also in these liabilities and workers' comp, Frankie and I went ahead and if we go based on the same scenario that we did this year, that we waive paying it before October and get into the penalty for $5,000 a month for November, December, and January, that's already figured into the price of the insurance for workers' comp and liability.
Gotcha.
If we don't have enough money to pay it up front.
What was liability again?
$686,000, I believe.
Which is down from what? From last year?
700 and some thousand, maybe 50,000.
Okay.
Anyway, the premiums will be about $198,000 less.
Mm-hmm. Well, about 240 on both of them.
Yeah. So we got a savings of nearly $250,000.
And we've aggressively tried to take depreciation, because before they said we couldn't take depreciation, but we have been doing a lot more depreciating on the equipment and stuff, so that's helping to drive it down too.
And the way that they came and explained the insurance last meeting and stuff, I think it's better insurance, isn't it? I mean,
are you talking about the health insurance?
The health
Yes.
insurance.
It is. It is. The employee gets much more on this one than what they did on the previous plan.
You know, Kelly had told me that he would like to transfer us into the KCO program, and I think he did a really good job coming up with this plan. It takes the employee's deductible from $2,500 to $1,500, plus they get an HRA every 6 months of $500. Is that correct, Justin?
We'll start off with the $500 coming July 1. Now, the HRA rolls on a calendar year as opposed to a fiscal year.
Yeah.
So 6 months later, they'll get an additional $500, and then it'll start going on a yearly basis. Now, that can roll up to 3 times, so if the employee never uses it, they'll have up to $1,500 to use, which would be their entire deductible.
Yeah. So it's a better deal than we had have before.
It's a much better deal for the employee, yes.
And there's no buy-ups. We don't have 3 different plans. It's just one plan this time. And vision is included in the rate, not separate.
All right.
And they will be here. Let your employees know on June the 11th and the 12th. We did put it in the paydays today. The first one will be meetings to inform them about what's going on. If they want to go ahead and sign up then, I guess they can. And then if not, they can take it home, digest it, and bring it back on the 12th and get everything figured out if they want to buy up on anything for anybody.
The meetings are here in the courthouse?
Yes.
All right, now.
And we're not taking any deductions for the judge and Leo, and then anybody who is buying up with a spouse or their children for vision and dental. We didn't take anything out of their check this time. So the next 2 checks, once we get all this compiled, will take care of what is due for July for the increase of whatever they want to choose.
Okay, now, our debt that we have right now on bonds and stuff, how much is it?
I looked that up yesterday. I didn't separate out bonds. I just did our whole
thing. Okay.
Liabilities, which is KCO. The GO bonds we have are the 12 and 13. The GO 12 compiled together the part of the jail, part of this courthouse. We're still paying on it for number 4 and 5 that used to be with KCO, and for the landfill. Then GO 13 is for the energy savings and the 2005 bonds on the jail. The first one was the jail expansion, and then this is from the previous bonds of when it was built of 2005 refinancing. Then we have, it has to be listed on our liabilities, but we have no liability to it, the judicial center.
The new one.
Correct.
Yes.
So if you take all of Leasing 2, Allied Financial, the KCO 43, and add them all together, you have, don't include judicial, we have about $14 million in outstanding debt.
Okay.
Principal and interest.
And then,
but if you add the judicial, it's like 27, so that makes it about 41 million or 42.
But 27 million of that is for the judicial center.
Correct.
Now,
we have no liability.
My understanding on that is the state, we use pass-through money on that.
Nothing ever switches hands with us, but they want us to list it on our financials.
Okay.
Because it's in our name, but the state pays the payment.
All right. So what our debt is, 14 million.
Correct.
Okay.
Have we ever missed a payment or anything?
No. They may be a little late sometimes, but we've not missed. We've not defaulted on anything, ever.
With this latest S&P stuff that's going on, and
correct.
Can you explain a little bit?
The Standards & Poor rating affects the bonds that we currently have because they're variable coupon rates. But I do have 90-day window, and I'm working with Compass to get those 17 financials and the 18 up to date to show them that our county has fared better from the 2016. I'll take responsibility for the financials for 17 and 18, but I can't control what happened in 16. 16, and a lot of the S&P talk is about the economy, the retirement system. All of that took dings on us, and not having a long-range plan for if something like the coal industry bombed, that we didn't have any reserves set aside anywhere.
Or property tax doubling.
Correct.
Yeah.
Those all affected us for 2016. But I'm get those reports in, and hopefully we can get up to where we're a better class instead of a watch. But it's not only us that come down. The states was dropped. The hospitals was dropped. Mm-hmm. Everybody's is being dropped probably in the state of Kentucky because of the economy, the retirement, and everything.
Well, unemployment rate, I think Pike County is right now about twice to what it is the rest of the state, isn't it?
I'm not sure, but I know in 2016 it went from like 7 point something, I think, from the article to 10 point something. The unemployment had a factor in it, people moving away from here. It was all taken into the graphics.
I think Pike County's somewhere around, and don't quote me on this, it was 7.4 to 8, and the state was somewhere around 4, so we're almost double what the state is. Okay.
And when Judge Deskins was in before, we didn't have any GO bonds. The Judicial Center and the 2 refinancing options of 12 and 13, and that's when Standard & Poor's started coming in because we did have an A+ rating.
Okay.
But they're really coming down hard on, you know, us in the state because of the retirement system not being funded the way it's supposed to, even though the counties have always funded what we were mandated to, and the state has not funded in probably 20 years.
More than that.
15 anyhow.
Now, he said it's more than
More
20.
than that. We haven't done it in a long time.
Okay. Now,
So-
what other big items are we looking at that we've got to change in this budget here as far as, did we look at a raise? Did we look at?
Yes, it has a 5% increase, and when Frankie brings that down, we can go over
okay.
what the increase is. We only had 1 election in last year's budget. There will be 2 in the 18-19 year now because there's always 1 year that's free of elections, so you have half and a half, but we had to double it this time. We did leave in money for voting machines in case they need to buy some upgrades or anything. The courthouse maintenance repair contract services is for Terry Rogers to be on call.
And what about a roof on the courthouse?
The Pikeville Courthouse renewals and repairs went from $55,000 to $205,000. We put $250,000 in there for the roof.
All right, now, and let's talk a little bit about that. What I'm finding out, and someone might be able to help us in the historical side. I asked them, if we change that roof from that tile that's up there to metal, does that affect the historical?
I'm sure it will.
Okay, now, they have metal that's shaped like tile.
Above me.
And it's a lot cheaper is what I'm saying. It's going to be a lot cheaper.
Yeah, that's why we budgeted the $250 is for the tiles to be replaced.
Yeah, so, you know, I don't want to do nothing to mess up the historical
The aesthetics of it.
But if we can do that and have it that same look, I say let's go for it, especially if it's going to be a lot cheaper.
Something we'll just have to check into. I don't know that.
The $200,000 is just for the top. The roof is not taking the tile and off and putting it back. So we're looking a whole lot more.
We put $250 in here.
That's $250 just for the top. That's not taking the tile off.
Oh, that's not
replacing it. No.
Oh gosh.
No, we've had them back up last week, and that's what we're working on right now. Because
Oh, Frankie does not know that because he told me it'd be $250,000.
Frankie, it's just
Huh?
not taking. That's what we're working on right now. Because they come back and say, no, that's not the tile. That's just the top.
Can we talk, get a hold of somebody in historical side and see if?
Well, that's what we need to do. Whoever we need to talk to, that's what we need to do.
Yeah, because yeah.
It shocked us when they come back for that price.
So how much more would it be to keep the tile?
I can't imagine on tile.
I'm going to say
Really
he'll
be
probably
careful.
another $100,000.
At least, maybe more.
Yeah.
Okay. We'll back up and punt on that.
Whew.
The Judicial Center's salaries and all the stuff that goes on at the Judicial Center, the AOC agreement that the judge signed a couple of court meetings ago said they would reimburse us $514,000 per year, so it's divided quarterly. The AOC expenses are more than that, but Judicial Center got a letter back in February or March that said AOC would allow them to do a 5% increase because some of the other custodians had gotten increases in the county. And so we've increased their line item, backing them up to May or to March, whenever AOC said they would reimburse us.
But that just brings them up to what
Correct.
our other, I mean.
They're not getting anything.
They're not getting any more.
No.
Yeah, okay, I understand.
But not just July 1 forward like all the other employees. We're letting it go back to March and come forward because AOC is going to reimburse us.
All right.
Okay, Frankie passed out to you our worksheet that we use. The salaries are up to $8,304,339.51. And like I said, these do include, well, if you do the extra hours in case anybody has overtime, would be $8,371,000, but I think we used the $8,304,000, didn't we? We used the $8,371,000 because that's where we placed anybody who had ideas of retirement and paying out their vacation and personal leave. So the payroll's gone up about $700,000 with the 5% and payouts for retirees. The FICA on that will be $640,452.88. KERS, instead of going up to 28 something, it went to 21.48. It'll go up 1.2% each year for 10 years, is it? Or, yeah. And that's $1,764,375.14. The Blue Cross rate is $131,285.61, and we just sent out a bill yesterday. It was $111,000. So, but we carry in case somebody gets hired full-time and all that to have a little bit of buffer. So the life insurance is $9, and the dental, I hadn't seen a renewal rate on it yet, but it's $17.83. So there's all the annual cost for our employees, which is $371,235.43. So that's a third of our budget of $36,000.
With this $12 million, is that including a 5% raise that we're projecting for?
Correct.
Okay.
Yes.
Jonda, the dental increase was zero. There's no increase.
Same amount. Okay. That's what we'd plugged to make sure. I know this worksheet of ours confuses people with the way we go back and do things, but this is what Paul Patton implemented when he was here as county judge. You put the cost of living increases, or COLA, on your old base, which is what we hired people in at last year. So then you get the 5%, and that becomes your new base for anybody hired this coming year. Then anybody who used to have or accumulated longevity, that gets added to get your total pay. Because you don't lose your longevity, it's just been carried over from year to year.
Yeah.
Because we've not had longevity in a long time. And being able to give our employees 7% for these last 2 fiscal years, I think has shown great growth for this fiscal court to be able to help the employees and to try and find better insurance and things of that nature that you all are looking out for the employees. Oh, another thing on this, you had mentioned to me about doing a 1% decrease on the property taxes,
yes.
But really it is a 10%. 1% of $2,700,000 is only going to be $27,000. So what we did was take, if it was 18.3, take 10% off of that, which would make it 16.47, which is 16.5. If we were assessed the same rate on real property taxes till August or September.
Yeah.
But we did take an account and take off 250-some thousand for what we had collected this year, which was like 2,700,000 and something in real taxes. That does not take anything of off tangible, which is more businesses on equipment and things of that nature. That number needs to stay, whatever the calculation is, so that we can keep that number up. But it did help the citizens.
So every property owner is we're going to give them a discount.
10% off of the rate.
Yeah, good, good.
But we won't know that determination until later.
Gotcha.
But that's what's figured, and if things are better, we can look at a different percentage. And I think that last year, I think our percentage increase was like 25% compared to everybody else's, so that would bring them down to just a 15% increase.
Okay, good. Now, when do you propose that we have our first reading on this?
Today, if I can go upstairs and just plug some surplus coming forward, we'll wait for the big number of...
Then when would be the second reading?
Once I get all my financials to Frankfurt in the next week or two.
Okay. And
because they have to have the historic data to look it over and to sign it as to form and classification. And the coal and mineral tax, I left at what we brought in this year. Because I don't think there's been any real downturn and no...
And I'm sure we won't get no increase.
No. So I left it at what we brought in this year, which is... $1,738,053. We brought in $1,008,000 something last year in coal. Mineral severance, we upped it to $1,260,000, which is what we actually brought in this year. The net profits tax, that had been a buffer for us to use as a fallback because we still don't really have good numbers for it because it has changed all 3 years, not as consistent as what our occupational tax has been. Mm-hmm. But we included, this is what we've received so far this year, is $612,552 in net profits. Last year we received 300 and some. So we've done much better with the net profits, and the year before that I think was 100 or 200,000. So Pam and Donetta have really been working on making sure they find as many people and get them, you know, signed up. And I appreciate that the court has not asked them to do any favors, because this is what really has driven us to having money left over, is for the ability for them to collect this money.
How much money did our occupational tax generate?
Last year, so far this year, we've gotten $3 million and a little over $3,034,000 so far.
So what are you?
$3,051,000.
So what did you put in this new budget?
$3,034,000.
Okay. All right. Then the profit tax, how much did it?
I put it in at $2.5 million from $2,150,000, and that takes off $250,000. Tangible went up from $500,000. As you can see, in 15-16, it was like 1.275, and it did fall off in the 16-17 year. No, it fell off in the 15-16 year, and that's why in 16-17 we only budgeted $500,000. But I have increased that to $952,823 because that's what we've collected so far this year.
Okay.
The unmined mineral tax, we had $200,000 budgeted. The actual turned over certification from the sheriff was only $152,000. I put $130 because I don't know what next year will look like.
Yeah. All right. Mm-hmm. And
we've put in monies as receipt and match money and expense money for the flood for 2018, February's.
Yeah.
We've already
FEMA.
do that for FEMA. We've downsized all of Jimmy Kaiser's hazard mitigation and stuff that we've done significantly. We took out the crumb rubber grant because we don't have anything for 18. Oh, AOC reimbursement's going to be $512,300, not the $514 I said. We increased probation and parole for starting in September from $15,840 to $52,640. We gave a couple of months lag time for them to get in over there and start paying us rent. And Frankie said the SOTP mental health in the basement is going to be moving over there, incorporated with probation and pro, so we only did that for 2 months worth of rent, or 3, a quarter. I left borrowed money in there. It don't hurt to leave it in there, but way you don't have to budget it, and we did an offsetting interest. If you need it, it's there to be used. We adjusted the FEMA. I do need to take some money off state blacktop and bridge contributions. The amount that we'll get next year for the 19 flex money, is $371,589. We need to get those roads together and get them as soon as we can so the state can look over them if you all want to spend that money before you go.
All right, that's how much, 371?
Yeah.
All right, what has that been in the past? Is that up?
About 350, it's a little bit up, 360, 380. It's pretty well holding consistent. Correct.
We usually get about 61 or 62,000.
61,931.50 is what everybody would get or give on that.
Good.
So as soon as y'all can get roads together, ASAP.
I got the sheet.
Because you know how long it takes to get it, state to look over it and approve it, send it to Frankfurt, get a contract, get it back here and get it signed before you can start blacktopping. And the plan will close in November, so we need to really get on that one if you all want to spend it. But I do need to take a little bit out of there. I've got about 100,000 too much. And the reason, the 371, and then we've got 90-some thousand in there for Hillman to fix his bridge. And if you look at the expense side, it's all the amount of how much Hillman's bridge will cost. And then we added in on the revenue, on the expense side, this will be the revenue less the 92,000. Hillman's expense side on that state contribution and bridge is added in there, so he's got money to cover that one.
Okay, and we don't get any credit for any in-kind service on that, do we? I mean, if we went over and done some of the work, we don't get credit for that, do we?
No.
I know.
Energy, what, Frankie?
I was going to say, you tried to negotiate with the contractor to bring that price down to where his match fund bends much. Yeah. It wasn't nowhere near. Yeah. I mean, they was going to allow a little bit in the bridge and things, but not much. Okay.
Energy Recovery Fund, I had been budgeting $58,376. This is for coal haul roads that have been in existence since. It's called extended weight coal haul roads, which have been in existence since back in the 1970s. They give us a list, but then they say anything that was a coal haul road prior to 1970 something is included. I probably put in 39,000 because that's about all we got this year. It's a little odd cents, but not much. Truck license refund is up. That's a number given to us from the state. The county road aid is up maybe about 35,000. We get a balance of the 17-18 year and the 18-19, and then we'll get the big balloon payment of 60% in August, and then we get a 30% draw in, or 20% in January. municipal road aid. We didn't used to have that, but somehow or another in the last census, they found an unincorporated area in Pike County, and we get, it varies, but it's like 4,000 or 5,000 a month. So that's for 50,852. The auction proceeds is selling the trucks that we have leased with Worldwide, plus we put $70,000 in there from the road fund on our auction. And we put $70,000 in the solid waste fund for that. So that'd cover about 140, which is what we did the last time. If other funds has things and they need to go back to it, I can make adjustments through the budget on that. And then we get into the jail. And Brian is really trying hard to get the numbers up. When that goes, don't have any more coal severance projects to say. And I told you about the coal and mineral. Mm-hmm. Okay. I do see one thing here. I thought we only had 69,000 left in West Care, or Elkhorn City Apartments, sorry. Thought we'd spent everything but 69, which that doesn't matter. It's a wash for the fund anyway, but I need to look at that one. And then we have the landfill has or hopes to get money back from FEMA on some of the things that's been going on over there, so that's budgeted in there.
On that slip and stuff?
Correct. We left the garbage and landfill collections the same, City of Pikeville. Auction proceeds is selling the trucks back and adding $70,000. Oh, the LGDF, Mr. Carlton asked me to look that supposedly the RL2 was supposed to have sent us money, but as of today, and they called the wire room, they have no pending money coming in from RL2. Other than that, the budget is $36,104,744 for revenue. And we've gone through the expenses, some of them on the salaries. We added an extra election. We've tried to...
John, to that West Care women, you mentioned, was that project mentioned in there?
We still have it in here because we've not had any draws off of it yet. Yeah, it's listed at...
We haven't had any draws down from here?
No.
Okay.
We've not started on it. $429,815. It's listed as an expense and a revenue.
All right, what did
Paul's telling me now, Frankie, that $250 won't cover the roof with the tiles. That's what we put in, though.
Put it out to bid. I don't know exactly what the prices will be until we actually receive it back, but they said there's a lot of labor involved.
Well, they do make the metal sheets now that look like tiles, don't they, Paul?
Yeah, they make the metal sheets like that.
And if we could do that instead of going just, because them tiles, I tell you what, bud, that's tedious
Don't want
work.
to start taking off, we break one, if we can't replace it. You know, we got a few pieces up there.
Take me about an hour. Okay.
Okay, good, good.
We can go into executive
We'll
session.
call
again.
Historical Society and see what if that does anything about the historical value of the buildings, what I was worried about.
Going into executive session.
Oh, okay.
We'll have to read
I don't know.
since we've came back into session.
No, you have to do the first reading because we're not going to have Tuesday's meeting
Executive session.
Yeah.
unless you want to have Tuesday's meeting and do the first
The
reading then.
budget and employment, the way he reads it.
It says by June 1, but then they would fudge a little bit on a few days.
All right, on the totals on this, what were they again? I'm sorry, John, the revenue on this new budget, what is it, 36 million something?
36,104,000, I believe. Yeah.
And our expenditures were
36,104,774, and right now the expenditures are at 36,380,177. And that'll come down on that one because I got to fix that West Care on both sides. The 911, as I said before, and airport, we pay their expenses, they reimburse us back. Animal shelter expenses were increased. We're doing tag team with a Dr. Pack who'll come once a month for $12.50 and spay and neuter animals, plus we're using Joy to do the adoption animals. So I had to increase the contract medical to $49,000 and the medication to $20,000. We've tried to keep up with how we've been spending this year. The hazard mitigations. We fixed the debt service, but most of them were pretty consistent with last year. Next year, there will be a decrease of about $300,000 or $250,000 on Geo Bond 2012.
It'll be a decrease?
A decrease of about $250,000 or $300,000 because this year we had $770-some thousand to put in for 2 payments, and there'll only be 1 payment due next time in the 1920 budget. Okay, we've increased.
Now, how long do you need for us to break here and come back and let's do the first reading?
Give me about 45 minutes.
Let's give you an hour.
Okay. I'm going to put the carryover money as of today. We can adjust, and I'm going to put some surplus in. As I was telling you all earlier, the 2 bank accounts have $1,791,000. The expenditure approval list has been running about 800 and some thousand. So we got one more expenditure approval list. We've got, I figure, we've got the 911 board that we can get reimbursement from. We've got the flex money to get invoices in and get money back, and we've got the airport. So I figured with all those, that's another $1,300,000. The payroll for tomorrow is $275,537. We have 2 more payrolls after that, and $79,000 for health insurance. For June would leave $1,386,514.02. But I think there'll be more. I look for it to be closer to 1.7 to 2 million, and I'll probably need to use 200 and some thousand to make this one work. Probably 300 to make it work and put the carry forward money in on the road department. The solid waste account as of today has $749,654.62. We're taking off for the escrow of the closing of the landfill, $130,000, $110,000 for June's accounts payable. The payroll tomorrow is $93,642, 2 more payrolls, and health insurance of $38,000 would leave $190,728.62 in that account, and it owes back money to the consolidated because of where revenues have not met our expenses because of all the things we got into with the landfill. We've had to expend about 100 and some thousand. So what are we collecting in June? I'm going to try and transfer as much of that 500 back that I can. So I feel comfortable in saying that 1.7 to 2 million, which I've said from the start, is where we're going to end up with carry forward money.
Okay.
And then at that point, the court, once we have that reconciled, and if I put 40,000 in for somebody's road account and they spend 20 this month, well then whenever the new budget comes out in July, I'm going to decrease that by 20 to see what your all's exact carry forward would be and do those adjustments at that time. But with that being said,
Okay, I think, Leo, don't you have a doctor's appointment this evening?
1:30. Huh?
He's got to be in Grundy at 3.
Oh, sorry. The diesel fuel and gasoline expense has gone up. As we know, it's gone up at the pumps, so we adjusted that accordingly in solid waste and road. Is there anything else you can think of, Frankie, we've tried to cover? And
Leo, now when is your appointment? I didn't hear you.
3 o'clock.
3 o'clock.
But it's in Grundy. 1:30 or something. We'll be fine.
yeah.
She said come back at 1.
John, do we need to?
Jeannie, have they said anything to you about District 2 fire hydrants?
No, I had a question about that though.
We have 10,000 in a line item.
I know it, and we've had it there. Why? I didn't understand that.
John, do we need to go into executive session, let you finish that?
Or go into recess for lunch, or whatever y'all need to
We can
do
go
at this
to
point.
recess for lunch.
Okay, that sounds good.
Previous magistrate would never determine where or how those were to be spent, and we've had that for a long time. Okay. Okay.
I had that underlined.
Put in fire hydrants.
But that has been allocated there, and like I said, there's money from Judge Dameron's administration for Fish Trap Lake cleanup. I didn't feel like it was ever proper to just wipe it out because we did receive that money, and that's what it should be used for, even though it's 20-some years old.
Let's use it.
How much is it?
It needs it.
$24,152. I think it was a $50,000 line item at one time during Judge Deskin's
Let's use that because Fish Trap needs cleaned up. Yeah.
And like I said, the Fish Trap State Park expansion project, that was money in order to get the state park named a state park, and this is being utilized for the little guy to do the groundskeeping of it through the season. You all have $2,500 apiece in park upgrades and improvements. I put in money for the donations that you all can use for upgrading your parks from where we charge for them to come and look at it or come and use it. I can't think of anything else that needs to be gone over. Can you, Frankie?
Can you,
I'll try my best.
you get that done, come back by 1 o'clock? It's 11
I'll try.
after 12 now?
Yeah. Do you all have any other questions about anything or want to look at anything?
I might have one for you when you get back.
Okay.
Well, we'll take a lunch break for till what time?
Till 1 o'clock.
1 o'clock.
Well, the court will take a lunch break and be back at 1 o'clock.
1 o'clock.
Jonda?
Judge, at this time, I'd like for the Assistant County Attorney to have the first reading of the proposed 18-19 fiscal court budget to be submitted to Frankfurt.
Okay, I'll try not to mess this up too bad. The summary analysis of appropriations for the Pike County Fiscal Court, fiscal year 2018-2019. The general fund, $12,461,484. The road fund, $7,331,523. The jail fund, $5,137,810. The total, the local government economic assistance fund, $2,308,728. Total federal grants, $492,815. Forestry, $34,113. Solid waste fund, $6,239,389. The special fund, the LGEDF recaptured fund, $716,892. The special fund maintenance garage fund, $1,155,589. The total budgeted appropriations is $35,878,343. I think you need me to run through the revenues, is that correct?
Just saying, looking through the revenues, those are like amounts also, and just
Okay.
read the total.
Okay. Reading through it looks like they are the like amounts. That page 9 is what the total is?
Yeah.
Okay. And the fiscal year 2018-2019 budgeted revenues, the 9 total funds listed as $35,878,343. That's all for that stack. You just need me to read the other one? Okay.
That's the first reading.
All right, and the annual standing order to pre-approve certain recurring expenses for the Pike County Fiscal Court fiscal year 2018-2019 pursuant to KRS 68.275 subsection 3, the fiscal court may adopt an order to pre-approve the payment of monthly payroll and utility expenses. No other expenses shall be pre-approved pursuant to this subsection without the written consent of the state local finance officer. The fiscal court, in accordance with state law, hereby orders the following recurring expenses for payroll and utilities be paid when due. The fiscal court further orders, upon the written consent of the state local finance officer, the following expenses to be paid when due. And these are a total of 389 pre-approved accounts. Then we'll have to have a motion and second on that. John, is that something we can do today, or does it need to be done next time?
No, it needs to be done today. Go ahead and read that last, under the 389 approved,
Okay.
what it says.
It is hereby acknowledged the above standing orders shall expire after July 1st of each fiscal year, and no more payments designated in the standing order shall be pre-approved unless a new order is adopted by the fiscal court according to the provisions of KRS 68.275 subsection 3.
Now we need a motion and a second, Judge.
Judge, need a motion and a second.
I need a motion and a second.
I make a motion that we approve the pre-approved certain reoccurring expenses.
Roll call, please.
We have a second?
Yes. Magistrate Anderson, Magistrate Compton,
Yes.
Magistrate Robinson, Magistrate Varney,
Yes.
Judge Diskins.
Yes.
The only other business I have is we need to reissue a check to Cynthia Dameron. She had written us 2 for the Long Fork Park, 1 for renting the Long Fork Park and 1 for the deposit. And once she cleaned up and everything, she was to come back and get it, but we accidentally deposited. So we need to issue her back $50 for her deposit on Long Fork Park.
I make a motion that we do that.
I'll second it.
Roll call, please.
Magistrate Anderson, Magistrate Compton,
Yes.
Magistrate Robinson, Magistrate Varney,
Yes.
Judge Diskins.
Yes.
I have no further business, Judge. And what I did on the budget, the carry-forward money from the magistrates was already included. Frankie had done that this morning. And I adjusted the energy recovery money. I had to use about $130-some thousand in the general fund as surplus. So anything above and beyond that will be able to be amended into the budget after we realize what the carry-forward money is as of July 1. Oh, and I did have to change Elkhorn City to 63,000 because we've spent everything but 63. 567 is what we'd spent this year.
That's on the apartment complex thing?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I got you.
That's about the only changes I made while I was up there and fixed.
All right, do we have any reason that we need to have that meeting, our regular scheduled court meeting, Tuesday the 5th, next week?
When's it get the second reading?
So the second reading will be once I get those financials in and they get to compare revenues and expenditures and approve of this form of classification. So hopefully I can have that done and have it back to have a second reading. We may have to have a special meeting after the 20th.
Yeah. So the next scheduled meeting is the 19th, and if we have to, we'll have a special called meeting to do the second reading.
But we're not gonna meet Tuesday, right?
If that's all right with everyone, do we have
We
to
need a
pay
motion.
bills or anything?
We just did it.
Next meeting will be when?
19th.
Do the approve any transfers or any interfund transfers as needed for the bills, payroll, health, life, and dental insurance, like I always say at each court meeting.
So we need a motion to that effect?
Yes.
All right, I make a motion that we do that.
I second.
We do what?
Approve me to do
Approve
interfund
interfund
transfers and transfers.
I thought we just did that.
Magistrate
No,
Anderson?
this is for bills and stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. I second.
Got it. Magistrate Anderson? Yes. Magistrate Compton?
Yes.
Yes.
Magistrate Robinson? Magistrate Varney?
Yes.
Judge Fiscal?
Yes.
I was trying to,
19th will be at 10 o'clock.
10 o'clock. No,
That's a
morning.
regular meeting.
Morning.
it'll be the 19th.
Are you,
Yeah, but I'm gonna see you for then.
we're ready to go?
I'll see you for then.
We're ready to go, huh?
I don't have any further business.
All right. Is
Let's
there,
see if Jenny's, did you,
I checked with you, any of you want anything to say? You?
No.
All right.
Jim, I was kidding.
County Attorney's report, you have anything?
Nothing, sir.
All right. County Judge's executive comments. I make a motion to adjourn.
I'll
Second.
second it.
Roll call, please.
unanimous.
Magistrate Compton? Magistrate Robinson? Magistrate Varney?
Yes.
Judge Fiscal?
He yells yes.